welcome to the show, RedditUp. This is a show that'll cover all of the great things that are happening on the social news website of Reddit.
Yeah, Reddit is where, we like to think of as where all the good stuff that happens on the internet starts. Reddit gets it first. Oh, pretty much every meme.
They're the vanguard.
Every animated GIF that your mom sends you in an email, it's all started on Reddit. Plus, variety of news stories and very topical items and all that good stuff.
Culture, absolutely.
It's all on Reddit, and Reddit is like a place for everybody.
Right. Everyone's experience with Reddit is different. We hope that this show helps complement your experiences, like a compliment bomb. We're just going to, hey, you know, you have a great shirt today.
It's like when blue and brown complement each other. Because when you're really tan and you wear light blue, it makes you look tanner.
Oh, it does.
It's a thing.
Ah.
I learned that on a reality show.
Today I learned.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so should we start off with some of our top stories that originated on Reddit, or at least they originated for us? All right, this one's kind of cool. It's called Attack of the Russian Troll Army. This was submitted by Vodianoy. Now, this is kind of an interesting story. So the deal is that Russia has a campaign to kind of get the public opinion to swing its way. Russia likes to shape the way that people think of the country of Russia. They've got a whole long history of doing that. But because the invasion of Ukraine has upset a lot of people and there's sort of a close eye on the country, they've now extended to recruiting and training online, you could call them trolls, really.
Yeah.
That are supposed to spread the message that is, what the Kremlin wants everyone to say about Russia in comment sections of top websites, American websites. So, for example, on a working day, just any average working day, the Russians that are, in the employ are supposed to post news articles 50 times. Each blogger is supposed to maintain 6 Facebook accounts, publishing at least 3 posts a day, discussing the news in groups at least twice a day. And at the end of the first month, they're expected to have won 500 subscribers on, various networks and get at least 5 posts on each item per day. So on Twitter, the bloggers are expected to manage 10 accounts and up to 2,000 followers and tweet 50 times a day.
This is absurd. I mean,
right. Like, I don't know what happens if you don't hit your quota.
Yeah.
You're right.
Chop off your thumb. You're just dead.
We're not insinuating anything.
Absolutely not.
But yeah, the point is let's just flood the internet with
positive posts.
Well, not just positive, but like the Russian spin on all of the stuff that people might be talking about, which is depending on who you talk to, maybe not the right one.
Right.
It's kind of crazy.
I have something a little bit more lighthearted.
All right.
These are Nietzsche quotes paired with the family circus.
The family circus.
It's so
one of the more unfunny comic
books.
But whatever. It's been around for a million years.
Right. So it takes a quote from the famous philosopher Friedrich Nietzsche and pairs it with an image from the Family Circus comic. So we have this one of a little girl looking at maybe a comic book with some crayons. It has underneath, we have art in order not to die of the truth. It's just like...
Can you, it's been a while since I sort of went through the funnies section in a newspaper because I don't really have newspapers anymore, but can you imagine running over that as you're and you're kind of
what?
You're like, is this like a Family Circus joke? Like, Family Circus is different.
Yeah, Family Circus really got deep.
Yeah, they're it's more of a commentary on life.
Here's another example. This is, we are, all of us, growing volcanoes that approach the hour of their eruption, but now, near or distant that is, but how near or distant that is, nobody knows, not even God. It's like...
It kind of works in a weird way.
Yeah, it's pretty funny.
Because he's like, oh.
So, you can...
And the list goes on.
Yeah, you can check that out at NietzscheFamilyCircus.com, and that was BP Fall 3 who submitted that.
So you know how, well, I don't know. I mean, you grew up in Texas, right? Mm-hmm. At small town, Austin area?
Austin, yeah.
Ish?
I had family in small towns. I had, God, I don't remember the name of the town. It was like...
Where'd I live? Who's my family?
I don't know.
Who am I?
Right.
It's kind of Nietzsche of you. Well, my point was, when I was a little kid, I lived in small towns, and you didn't even, lock your car.
Right.
And, you weren't, really, thinking the worst of everybody. And now... and not for no reason, we're all kind of like suspicious of each other, you know? There's not a lot of trust in the world. This is actually kind of an interesting animated version of Americans by geographic region who said most people can be trusted. This is between 1972 and then 2012, just a couple of years ago.
So there's 2012, and it goes back to 1972, and it's mostly green.
Right. And
60%.
yeah, it's basically like they're answering a poll.
Right.
And back in 1972, people were like, yeah, most people can be trusted.
Why not?
2 years ago, they're like, no, most people cannot be trusted.
No.
Run away.
Right. I won't spend 5 minutes away from my car if it's unlocked, basically.
I'm not going to leave my car unlocked ever.
Yeah.
I mean...
Why would you? I don't even have anything in my car to steal, but I just don't want to leave it unlocked.
I remember my dad leaving me in the car, and the car would be unlocked. Like, if he had to go into the store, and he's like, just wait here. It's, like, way too hard to bring you.
Don't worry about it.
Nobody thought that was weird.
Yeah.
Now you'd get arrested if you did that.
Right,
if
basically.
you're, someone's dad.
So you hear about the Hunger Games?
Yeah, I've heard of them.
You
Yeah.
heard of that whole series?
I've watched the movies. I haven't read the books.
Have you not read the books?
No.
I read the books. No, I'm not really proud to say. Anyway, the in the books and in the movies, they had a symbol for their defiance against the I forget the first
the people who make them fight.
Right, exactly, and that has actually been co-opted by a real. By Thailand, the citizens of Thailand. Right now, there's a big military coup going on in Thailand.
That's true. Again, they do this.
I know. Every once in a while.
It's kind of history repeating itself.
And so the citizens have taken up to using the Hunger Games symbol of the three-finger salute to help represent sort of their strife. And the military police, the Thailand's military, is not taken kindly to it, which is kind of sad. But it's also just kind of interesting that...
Well, now, this was submitted by a user, Chemut, and some people have noted, and you might know more about this than me, that it's more of the Boy Scouts salute.
It is.
Now, I'm not sure, I wasn't a Boy Scout, so I don't know the subtle differences that what's going on here.
In Cub Scouts, you use 2 fingers, in Boy Scouts, you use 3.
So it's the same idea.
Same idea, yeah. And it's
Boy Scouts aren't really so much, about like sticking it to the upright.
No. In fact,
that would be coincidental.
Many parents had always assumed that the Boy Scouts was sort of training for the military, and that it's like Cub Scouts, Boy Scouts, full-on military salute.
Like, interesting. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Never thought of it that way.
Yeah. Anyway, it's kind of just an interesting
it's
story.
Life imitating art, I guess we could.
And there's even
it.
tweets saying, "Dear, hashtag Hunger Games. We've taken your sign as our own. Our struggle is nonfiction. Thanks." And then the Thai coup in Thailand. There's also other hashtags.
It is a powerful.
It's a symbol. You want to get behind a symbol.
When you see a photo like that, you're like, I mean, that's you've got something that's working for you.
Right.
What was her name in the Hunger Games?
Katniss Everdeen.
Yeah, because she's kind of badass, and so everyone's like, "Ooh, Katniss is doing it."
Right.
She doesn't care.
Right.
All right, let's move on to something that I care a lot about, and that's cats. But not just cats, cat pointer. So it is exactly what it sounds like. This was submitted by IOE046. Or maybe it's Loey 046. I don't know if that's a capital I or a lowercase l. But anyway, they're cat pointers.
So the idea is you go to this website and you have this little mouse and you can move and it tracks on your mouse. Put it anywhere on the website and after a few seconds it will load an image of a cat attacking where that mouse is.
Right. Yeah.
Where you put the pointer.
Because they actually have enough.
They have a database of
images
cats
in there that they're like, we pretty much have covered every inch of the square.
Yeah.
So just go ahead and click.
Isn't that funny?
And we're gonna give you. You're creating the. Well, you're creating the point, I guess.
Right. It even
wonderful.
gives you a little counter at the top. It says that it has 311 cats in the database, and as you randomly put your mouse around it, you find. Look at that one. You find
catnip or something.
Yeah.
I think this is one of the more pointless things I've seen on the internet, but that's what makes it so great.
Yeah. I just like to think that engineering time really went into figuring out how to match the cat attack to the pointer.
It was kind of like that. Remember back in the day where you could tell the chicken what to do?
Yes,
What was
you
that
type
called?
in.
It was called, like...
You type into it and you'd say, dance or
Yeah.
push-ups, and it would do it.
And for a while, everyone was like, this is crazy. And then we were like, oh, wait, they've just recorded so many of the common commands that you would say.
Right, they've just recorded videos of all of it.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So let's talk about space.
Okay.
Commercial space flight might be one of my most exciting realms of things that I keep track of on the internet.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I love
SpaceX and the
SpaceX actually is a really great. I don't know if many people know this. They have a great social media, sort of thing. So I follow them on Google Plus.
Oh, I didn't really know that actually.
And they post the most amazing videos of the rocket launches and huge rockets lifting in the air and then hovering and then landing again. I absolutely adore it. And so this is sort of in that vein. Virgin America has been cleared for U.S. takeoff of their space capsule. This is the
Virgin Galactic?
Virgin Galactic. I just say Virgin America. This is Virgin International. Galactic. And so, this the Federal Aviation Administration has gone ahead and approved this vehicle for flights in the U.S., which is super, super exciting, and I'm just very, very, very excited about.
Are you excited in the way that you would save up money and get on one of these?
Eventually, I'm not saving currently.
Well, but you know what I mean. If money was no object, you'd be on there.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I'm not going to space.
No.
I like my feet on the ground.
I just finished the book The Martian, and
and you want to be one?
There was a moment in the book where yes, no. There's a moment in the book where he's. Well, I don't want to spoil it, but there's some sort of moments where he's leaving certain portions of his habitation when he's been on Mars, and I'm just like, he'll never go back. That's so sad. He's been in space. He's been to other planets, and he's never. It was nostalgia got me.
Oh.
Ooh, sorry.
That's all right. A little mic hit.
Mic hit. No,
all right.
Big deal.
Well, okay. By the way, it was called subservient chicken, thanks to whoever set me straight. I wasn't going to remember that word. Subservient. It's a good word.
And PetSkip was the one who submitted that. Sorry.
Oh, PetSkip. Nice.
PetSkip.
Speaking of users, Club Trill submitted this little interesting tidbit. If you don't live in New York, specifically Manhattan, you might not know that depending on the time of year, the sun will set at a particular angle. You'd see the sun's lower in the sky in the winter, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
On May 30th, which was just a few days ago, the sunset lined up perfectly with the street grid of Manhattan, which is very much a grid for the most part. The streets are all really, really straight. It is known locally as Manhattanhenge, and it's kind of like ha ha ha. But look at this. It's really beautiful. And it's funny because the first I heard of this, or I guess the first I noticed that a lot of people that I knew, people I follow on Instagram, were all taking the same photograph and then hashtagging it Manhattanhenge. I was like, I don't really know why it's Manhattanhenge.
It's like the Manhattan solstice.
I didn't know it was a sun thing.
Right.
But it really,
that's such a cool photo.
Gives you some very,
Can you imagine
very interesting
driving
photos.
down that street and now for a few days of the year, that sun is just straight in your eyes, just right in your eyes.
Yeah. I don't like that. It's kind of a scary sun, really. Right. May 30th, plan your trip to New York City and take your own Manhattanhenge and then send us the photo.
Absolutely.
See you next year.
I have a great website that gives you stats about how old you are.
Oh, great.
Isn't this great? Elliot Walker 5 submitted this, and the website is called Youre Getting Old .com, and it's spelled a little bit weird. It's Youre Getting Old, so the apostrophe is the period.
Right. Subdomain.
So the idea is you plug in your birthday, so I'll put in my month, the day, and the year, and you hit go, and I'll say this is for me, and it gives you stats about your age, and it makes you kind of feel old in the process.
So for example?
The first example is you're 9,184 days old. To give you some perspective, Natalie Horn, who's a British singer...
Neil.
Neil. He's a singer in One Direction. It's funny, I did this the other day and I got a different celebrity, so I guess they change a little bit. And
so
I don't
you're
know who
like
this person is.
almost 2,000 days older than Mr. Horn.
Mr. Horn, but then the daughter of Matthew McConaughey and Camille Al.
Yeah. She's not very old at all.
Not very old at all, but them combined gets to my age. So someone who's like someone who is the daughter of a famous person.
You've got a little,
and Neil from One Direction.
You've got a little reconnaissance and a little boy band.
Right.
And that's kind of exactly
and then that's how old I am.
I couldn't describe you better myself.
Right.
Even if I really tried.
And then you can do things like American actors divided by 3 is getting to me. But
these are weird stats.
So, yeah.
Jon Voight divided by 3 is Chad Johnson.
It's Chad Johnson. So my favorites are the timelines. So this one unfortunately doesn't hit quite perfectly for me because of my age.
Yeah.
But I am closer. My birth was closer to the Great Alaskan Earthquake that hit with a magnitude of 9.2
in 1964.
In 1964, that is actually closer to my birth than today. And this gets some people it hits better than others. So some people it may be like the Great Depression was closer to your birth than today is to your birth.
It's one of those things where I'm like, so?
And so some of them are like Cleopatra is the us landing on the moon was closer to Cleopatra's birth than the building of the pyramids. Or just kind of just like a weird fact to think about that.
Right, because
just how time works.
In many people's minds, you're like, I don't know, it was a long time ago.
Yeah, exactly.
Pyramid times.
Exactly.
Yeah.
My favorite one is from when I was born to today. Right in the middle of that, Apple introduced the first iPod.
Oh, isn't that nice?
So I thought that was
serious.
Half my life ago, the first iPod was introduced.
Okay, that makes me feel old.
I know.
Your old person page makes me feel old.
Yeah, and then it also gives you a little bit.
How are you that young? How are you alive?
It's funny. It's funny. There's. I did this with a friend, and it gives you, at the very bottom, it gives you your past as an infant, as a child, as a teenager, and then in your 20s. And I was talking to a friend who was only 19, and so it only went to a teenager, and I felt really old because it was like, oh,
yeah, 19.
Come on.
You're an adult, but you're still a teen.
Right, and so it'll give you a few things like
a weird age.
The Berlin Wall fell when I was 6 months old. That kind of makes me feel a little bit old.
The Scorpions had a great song about that.
Yeah.
Wind of Change.
Wind of Change.
Yes.
Now, to give this a little bit more perspective, I plugged in Leo's birthday to kind of see if there was anything.
Do we know how old he's old, right?
Yeah, I pulled
he's
this
really
from Wikipedia.
Okay.
So Back to the Future, American comic scene fan fiction film was released. So
Back to the Future was released
half his lifetime ago.
Over half his life ago? That can't be right.
Yeah, isn't that
is
crazy?
It?
Apparently
that was
it is.
85, right?
If Wikipedia knows. So as an infant,
oh God,
the Sputnik 1 was launched into orbit when he was 10 months old.
West Side Story opened on Broadway. That's how old Leo Laporte is, okay? Let's say no more. All right, are we, you going to keep going?
I'm finished. I'm good.
We got some great trivia. That's pretty fun. I don't want to look at mine.
So youreold.com.
You,
and then the apostrophe is a period, or old.com.
Are getting old.
Or gettingold.com.
This is posted in a subreddit called Internet is Beautiful.
Internet is beautiful.
It is kind of beautiful in a weird way. West Side Story. Okay, should we take a video break?
Yeah.
I think we should. This was submitted by Boneless Brown Trout.
All the dogs of planet Earth.
And the dog just wants to pump you up.
This is great.
Cool.
I saw Carson watching this in our office, and he was like, "Don't look at it."
This, you know what this
Pump
is?
it up for the dog.
This is like a Dan Deacon video.
Bark, bark, bark.
It is time to fulfill your destiny.
So that's the video ad break of today. The dog's getting pumped all over the world.
This makes me so happy.
Yeah?
Yep. This is... earlier, the cat pointers was one of like the most more pointless things I've seen.
This might be the most pointless.
I mean, there's no point, there's no rhyme or reason It doesn't make any sense.
Nope.
It's not even really like that well done, yet it's fascinating.
Dogs getting pumped all over the world.
This guy is crazy. It's just good. I'm going to share this with everyone I know.
Perfect.
And that's the beauty of Reddit, see? Because then I'm like, no one's seen this.
Yeah.
I mean, you Redditors, of course, you guys have, but like, everyone else is like, where'd you find? Sarah always finds the good stuff.
I always worry about that. And someone would be like, you just got this from YouTube Haiku. Like, me and you just subscribed to the same subreddits, you jerk. Like, you just stole this from the front page of Reddit.
You know.
Anyway, moving on to AMAs. Ask Me Anythings. We had some great ones this week. And let's start off with 50 Cent. Ask Me Anything.
50 Cent.
I'm 50 Cent.
Yeah, he's, a rapper. Got shot 9 times. Also has a lot of #1 hits over the years. So, obviously a lot of questions were asked, but we'll just highlight a couple of them. Maddie P. asked, Iggy Azalea's booty, real or no? If you're not familiar with Iggy Azalea, she is a female rapper and she has a rather
big
large
booty.
posterior.
Right.
Yeah, it's kind of, one of the things that people notice about her. Official 50 Cent, which is his Reddit username, says, next time I see her, I'ma squeeze it and find out for you, okay? I'll report back to you shortly. Lol. Also, I'll just summarize some other questions and answers. We learned that Fitty used to be able to bench press 405 pounds.
Wow,
That's
used to.
pretty impressive.
Yeah.
But he has since slimmed down. He's not as big as he used to be. If you've seen him lately, throwing out the first pitch, obviously, maybe you ought to be. Anyway,
yeah.
I'm not going to go there. The first thing that he ever bought when he hit it big was a car for his grandma.
Aww.
Isn't that nice? And people also still sing "Go Shorty, It's Your Birthday"
to him. When it's his birthday?
Well, I just think probably all the time.
Okay.
We're gonna party like it's your birthday, even though it's not.
Right.
Fitty, love ya. Give me a 5. Yeah. Woo.
I am Clark Gregg. You probably know me as Agent Shield, Agents of Shield. Philip.
Well, you're not Clark Gregg, but that was
I'm
how
not.
he
No,
introduced
this is how
himself.
I'm moving on to the next day. Yeah.
Right.
His new film, Trust Me, opens tomorrow. You can ask him anything.
Well, people already did. Button Skill asked, be honest, do you own your own action figure and how often does he get played with? And Clark Gregg says, I have 2. One's in the closet in mint condition and will stay that way. There's another one that lives in the den, and I do go in there every once in a while to retrieve him because there's nothing wrong with playing with yourself occasionally. That's kind of fun.
That's pretty funny.
Yeah.
Next
Walked right
one
into that one.
that I was super excited about was Malcolm Gladwell.
Yeah, you said you're a big fan.
Big fan. So the title of his thread was "I am Malcolm Gladwell, author of The Tipping Point, Blink, Outliers, and most recently David and Goliath, Underdogs, Misfits, and the Art of Battling Giants. Ask Me Anything."
Zero Dark asked, has anyone ever told you remind them of Sideshow Bob? Malcolm Gladwell says, yes. I take it as a compliment.
Yep.
Top comment was, this is funny. The top comment was, sorry I took your username. You can have it back if you want. That was Malcolm Gladwell.
Without an underscore.
Because the Malcolm Gladwell,
who submitted
the author,
this thread,
has the underscore.
Right, it's underscore Malcolm Gladwell.
Because somebody already took it.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not certain, I'm not sure if I understand if there's just another Malcolm Gladwell or if he was just, squatting on the
he
Reddit
may have
username.
just been squatting.
But in any case, it sounds
maybe
like...
he always wanted to give it back.
Right, exactly.
It
was like when...
I'm going to get this from Malcolm Gladwell.
It's like when the guy registered SarahLane.com and then was like, it's yours. And then I had to thank him publicly.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay.
Yeah. So AMA's coming up. Ask an Astronomer. This is Cornell University Astronomer, and that's on June 9th. Lou Ferrigno is on June 13th. And Nicholas Brendan is who's Xavier. Xander.
He was Xander.
Xander from Buffy.
From Buffy, which
on June 13th.
I have to admit, I'm not a Buffy person, so I don't know who Xander is. But I have friends who watch the series from beginning to end with regularity.
Yeah.
And so they're freaking out
multiple
about this.
times.
Yeah.
Right.
It's the Buffy people are weird.
They're into it.
And I mean that in the nicest way.
Yeah. They are really
They're
great.
They're very, what is the word I'm looking for? Loyal
dedicated
dedicated
to Buffy.
To their love of Buffy.
Right.
And Sarah Michelle Gellar and gang.
Right.
Allison Hannigan, all of them. Xander.
Right.
Nicholas Brandon.
Angel.
All of them.
All of them.
They're so good.
All
They're
of them.
fighting the good fight. Hey, so let's move on to, this is my favorite part of the show, the awe of the week.
Roll it.
Roll it. So this apparently is a kookaburra saying hello, submitted by Dr. Alabama Jones. Kitten in a crocheted
Oh my
mushroom
God.
costume from Youre this little
mouse thing?
Yeah, he's a mouse. Dinosaur Box submitted it.
It's a 140-year-old turtle.
Yes, same person.
Living the dream.
I'm not even going to read these
Oh my
usernames because they
gosh.
go by too quickly, but
When they're on the screen,
suffice it
too.
to say, kitten in a little bed.
Oh my gosh.
We thank you,
How do you get a
Lurleen
kitten to
Lumpkin?
stay there and also put a blanket on it? That's what I want to know.
Some cats are pretty good about that.
Not mine.
No?
No.
They're,
Put
they just
anything
be
on
like,
it, and they're like,
yeah.
what are you talking about?
My cats they're okay.
So, yeah, every once in a while.
No, I mean, they're pretty tolerant.
Right. Of
If I'm like, let me put a little bonnet on you. I actually don't have a cat bonnet, but if I did, I think that they'd be like, okay, take a picture, put it on Instagram, it's
Come
fine.
on, it's fine. Moving on to the subreddit of the week.
Yay.
We have a great one. This is Bored Celebs.
Okay.
Uh,
Me, like bored celebrities.
Bored celebrities.
Celebrities being bored.
So people post photos or videos or whatever of celebrities who are very bored and aren't doing much. There's a very unimpressed Nicolas Cage submitted by Mystery Penguin.
He looks like he just hasn't bathed. I don't know if
looks
he's
like
bored.
he has
He's just
an
like,
infection
where?
in his eyes.
Oh, no, again, I think he's just tired and needs a cup of coffee.
It's just the stark contrast to that woman who is so excited to see him.
Well, you know, as whatever you think about Nick Cage, I'd be pretty stoked to sit next to him on an airplane too.
Yeah, would you?
Yeah, I think so.
That's good. That's good.
All right, let's
Next
move
is
on.
Britney Spears, the wax statue. Just the wax statue of her. No, she's not actually a wax statue. This is actually her. but
Posing with a variety of different
she
people.
she's posing the exact same way in the exact same face that she might as well just be a wax statue.
So basically, she was
Submitted by
standing, on a red
Analog
carpet
Blonde,
somewhere,
yeah.
and people came up and
Yeah.
got to take their picture with her. It's weird how well she was able to keep her head in the exact same place.
Yeah.
Even though her body moved
I think
slightly.
you just get in the role of it. Once 700 photos come by.
Right. This
it's
is just what you do. You're a bored celeb.
Yeah.
What's to move?
Absolutely.
All right. What's next?
Next is Mark Hamill looking super happy. This is submitted by Harry Smith, the U, and yeah, poor. This is just a weird. This tells a story on itself with the crazy background.
You know
and
what's weird is that if you had
crazy
not
eyes.
said to me, "This is Mark Hamill,"
you wouldn't know. What
I might have taken me a while.
Yeah, it's Mark
It
Hamill.
just, hey, we all age.
Yeah,
So I'm not going
of
to
course.
say anything about anything. He doesn't look like Luke.
No, not anymore. But who? I mean, that was.
In fact,
so
I
long
might have
ago.
been like, which one's the celebrity?
Well, he's obviously the bored one.
But they both look, I don't need to
That
look
guy
that
looks
bored.
just interesting.
Yikes. Okay.
Yeah. And finally, we have Kim Kardashian, and this is a mashup.
Okay.
Of from her, I believe, her television series.
Yes,
Of her
Keeping
just
Up with the
yawning
Kardashians.
and yawning and yawning.
Oh, in her sort of like when they do their like wrap-ups.
Yeah,
and so I asked Chloe to like.
I always think of it as like
give
a
me
confession
some
box.
coffee, and I'm tired.
I was
don't know.
amazed. I was transfixed that the background didn't change, and I was trying to postulate how
it's a green screen. It's
probably a green screen.
because she's moving around.
Yeah, and that's just an image that they had.
This
her
is
throw up
weirdly
there.
mesmerizing.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
And why would they have put her yawning into the footage so much?
Well, it's probably not
She's
stuff
probably
that made it into the footage. It's probably somebody, who's got, who's got access to what ends up on the editing floor.
Right.
Because I don't think that's part of the show is her yawning. I don't know. Maybe it is. They've been on for like 7 seasons.
Maybe I'm
or
thinking it's like a fake yawn. Like, so and so walked in, and did you see her dress?
I don't know. It's quite a reaction. I mean, I feel like she's aware enough of what her angles are that has to be a true yawn.
I don't know.
Because
Her
it's
actually
quite
now looking at
unflattering.
her eyes. I mean, that looks like I don't know. We are getting into this way too much.
I don't know. See, this is
Kim
what
Kardashian yawning.
This is what happens. You say, "Oh, who watches that?" And then you're like, "Let's talk about it."
Oh my God!
What do you think she was doing?
Yeah, what was going through her head?
Thinking? Do you think she's really
so
tired?
Famous. Wow.
What about that wedding dress?
Yeah.
Okay, let's move on to Ask Reddit. All right, so this is we do this every week. This is where a question is basically posed to all the people of Reddit.
All of Reddit, yep.
So as a Reddit
That's the
community
subreddit,
member,
Reddit.
yeah, exactly, you can answer. All right, so the question of the week is, what is your most boring encounter with a celebrity? So some of the answers that we got, user Han Holla said, when I was 6 years old, I went swimming with my brothers at a hotel in Pasadena, but I had no bathing suit, so swam in a shirt and some biking shorts. And Chris Farley was swimming in the deep end. I jumped in next to him, and he says, swimming in your clothes, huh?
Woo!
Bam!
Bam!
All right, Zombies at Midnight submitted this one. DMX. Okay. DMX gave me $20 to get away from him. Take the 20.
Get out of here.
Get out of here, kid. Scram, beat it. I'm DMX.
That's so funny. Oh my God.
Oh, good one. Bright Path says, all right, this one's, I saw Stevie Wonder at an airport once. I waved, to which Drunk Valet says, he acted like he didn't even see you. And Zombie Arthur says, classic Stevie.
Classic Stevie.
The blind jokes. We had another blind joke just a few weeks back on this very show.
Yeah.
That time we were poking fun at Ray Charles.
Ray Charles, right.
I mean, I don't condone blind jokes, but Stevie Wonder, what are you going to do?
Nothing. You were going to make funny Reddit
He's
jokes.
a great singer.
Yeah.
Yeah. You'd wave once in a while at an airport.
Right.
Were you too good for the rest of us?
Right.
Okay, so
Yeah, we should answer this question.
should I pose this to you, Chad?
Okay.
What is your most boring encounter with a celebrity? Do you feel like you have one?
Yeah, Me and it's unfortunate because I cherish the moments of those serendipitous moments with celebrities because it doesn't happen that often.
Yeah.
So I had to think I was like, you wouldn't believe this. Oh no, that one's a little too exciting. So this one, me and Brushwood were in LA. We were shooting some pilot stuff, and we went to Harry Winkler's house to perform magic for him. And it was funny because Harry Winkler lives
from Happy Days.
From Happy Days.
Yeah.
From Harry,
the Fonz.
The Fonz.
Yeah.
Harry Winkler lives almost exactly like you would expect Harry. You walk into.
I don't know what I would expect.
Well, he's like old Hollywood. So you
Okay.
go into his house and it's like nice white walls with like a really plush living room, carpet, and almost everything's white, or the cream, like various colors
Maybe some
of
black
cream.
lacquer here and there.
Very little. Like it's like a really high-end old grandma with a lot of money house.
Henry Winkler, by the
Henry
way.
Winkler.
Yeah. Harry Winkler doesn't sound quite right, but you were close.
Henry Winkler, you were correct. And so we go into his kitchen to perform magic for him, and he has, a lady there making food and sandwiches for everyone, and putting together like a fruit platter. And then Brian did some magic for him, and he was like, "Oh, that was really cool." And then we left. It was just hanging out at Henry Winkler's house. That's
Was it boring? It sounds fun.
It's not supposed to be that amazing. I could give you crazy stories if you wanted.
I mean, it's not as bad as Chris Farley just being like, what are you swimming in your clothes for? You know what? I don't even really care.
Doing? But it's like we performed magic trick and left.
So I used to interview celebrities as part of my job. So I've actually had quite a few just lackluster interviews.
Right.
I wouldn't call them boring or awkward, just they didn't really want to be there, and I had to get some sound bites, and that's what we did.
Were they on the tour, or just on the trudge with you?
They call them junkets.
Junkets,
when there's a new movie coming out, you see that stuff on Entertainment Tonight where the celebrity is I got some inspiration from hanging out with these mental patients at a hospital in order to prepare for the role.
And they have to
that's
do
all
that
junket
7
stuff.
times.
They have to do that 70.
70 times.
Yeah, it's all people, all week. Anyway, and so I would say that, and I don't want to call anybody out specifically, Harrison Ford had no interest in speaking with me. Now, this was for a movie that was, I won't remember the name of it. It was all about... like his family gets kidnapped. It takes place up in Seattle, and he has to like figure out some sort of like server thing. It's
Right.
like loosely related to computers in order to get
He's
them
in a
back.
house.
And it
I think
wasn't
he
a
was,
good
like, stuck-
movie,
Yeah.
and he knew it.
Right.
And he just didn't want to talk about it.
Right. That is funny.
Yeah.
So basically, he's just sat down with you. Firewall.
Firewall. That
what it
was
was.
the movie. It took place in 2006. Yeah, that was one of my last interviews, actually.
5.8 stars out of 10.
It's not a good movie.
Right.
It's just boring and.
So did he
you know.
just like sit down and was just like
It's
not
like,
going to answer questions?
He's sort of like, he's exactly how you think he's going to be, where I'm like, so, what made you want to kind of play like a computer genius?
Right.
And he
He's
was
like-
like, well, you know, it's an acting role. So, it was that kind of thing.
My
where I'm
mortgage payments were coming
okay,
up.
let me attack this from another angle.
I'm an actor.
You know, how was shooting on location in that house?
We were
He's
in a
like-
house.
He's like,
It,
it was, you know, it's fine.
right.
It's like,
Wisconsin.
I'm Harrison Ford, and you're
Right.
stupid.
Right. Right.
So, that's pretty
That is pretty funny.
Yeah. Anyway, that's my story. I'm sticking to it.
Cool.
Hey, let's move on to TILs.
TILs.
Today I learned, which we actually had an organic one earlier in the
Earlier
show.
today.
But these are things that we actually learned while we were on
Browsing
Reddit
Reddit.
this
Right.
week.
Right.
So, TIL. Today I learned that in lieu of money, Toyota donated efficiency to the food bank of New York City. Their experts cut wait times at a Harlem soup kitchen from 90 minutes to 18 minutes, quite a cut. In one Brooklyn warehouse, simply changing the size of boxes allowed workers to cut packing time from 3 minutes to just 11 seconds. That was submitted by Presuif.
Yeah, I read this whole thing and it linked to an article. It was absolutely fantastic. and amazing.
Efficiency rather than money, because sometimes money, well,
And it makes
can
a lot of
make
sense.
things more efficient.
Right. I mean, it saved
yeah.
this is like one of the most popular food banks in New York, and it saved them so much more money over a longer period of time than they put up. And Toyota's actually built, they consistently work on efficiency over and over and over again. That's part of their business model, and they've sort of broken that out into a sub-business where they bring that to people.
Yeah.
And so that's what they donated, and it was just great, fantastic.
That's rad.
Today, I learned that the word junkie originates from the 1920s when drug addicts sold scrap metal to help their addiction, to help get money for their addiction.
Oh, so like it was back in the day where like
Right.
a piece of steel would like get a pretty penny, and then you go get your heroin.
Right, so you would go...
Junkies.
Yeah.
That's why they're junk. I always
You'd go
wondered
grab
about
some
that.
junk to sell it and then fix your heroin addiction.
See, I always thought that it meant
You're junkie.
you're putting junk into your
Right,
body.
right.
You're a junkie.
Right.
Because that's junk.
I always thought it was like, you're lower than dirt. You're a junkie. You're disgusting
You're basically
human.
a garbage can
Yeah, exactly.
full of trash.
Exactly.
You junkie.
Right.
Apparently, we were both wrong.
Man.
Wow.
Yeah, so
All
they
right.
used to sell junk to make money.
That's pretty cool. If only scrap metal would actually still give me money.
Yeah, I know.
I would do it. Not for heroin.
Right.
Just for money.
Right.
Credit card debt, really.
Right.
Okay, so TIL. Today I learned that 29% of San Francisco's air pollution comes from China.
Woohoo!
Thanks, China.
20%.
Loving it. You know, I don't really think San
bit
Francisco is
better.
that polluted of a city, but the Bay Area, the larger area, has some pretty smoggy days.
Yeah.
So China,
Pretty amazing.
I'm looking at you. Don't do that, please.
Today I learned that there is evidence of eagles, or of early humans being killed and eaten by eagles.
What? What kind of eagles?
Eagles.
Giant,
Big
horrible
old eagles.
Is there like a dinosaur eagle that was a lot bigger than
Prehistoric
the
eagles.
bald eagle? Our regal bird of today.
Humans, a predator to humans used to be eagles.
Did people
Wouldn't that-
used to
wasn't
be
that, like, the most
very,
terrifying?
very small?
Pretty babies, children.
Were we like rodent sized back in the caveman
Did you not
days?
see that YouTube video of the child being picked up by the eagle? That was later turned out to be fake, but
Of course.
yeah,
Sponsored by GoPro.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
That's frightening.
Today, I
I'm
don't
glad
know.
that eagles no
was by
longer
Mike
are
Pence.
like dive bombing us when we're on little hikes.
Kind of glad that we've
Yeah.
we fixed the eagle infestation.
You know, maybe we've wiped out all the eagles, right?
what I'm thinking. They're all endangered
so
now.
there you go.
Yeah, we win.
Yeah, right.
Eagles.
Yeah, and I'm bringing you off an endangered list. That's where you're staying. I want to get eaten by you. Well, that kind of comes to the end of our show. But before we go, we definitely want to remind you that we have our own subreddit. Of course, a subreddit is a place that is a specific part of Reddit where you talk about specific stuff. Our Reddit is RedditUp.
r/RedditUp.
Spelled exactly how it sounds. r/RedditUp. This is the place where we're kind of just, we want to have a place for all of you to gather and be able to share stories with us and each other throughout the week in between shows and give us ideas and all sorts of good stuff.
And it's also a great place for us to put the episode, and you guys can talk in the comments, discuss the episode in the comments.
If you don't watch live and you want to make sure that you don't miss anything.
Yeah.
This beautiful show, for example.
Right, absolutely. And that about wraps it up for beta number 8.
Is that what it is? Beta number 8? How many betas are we going to do?
Yeah, if you watch one of these once
Haven't
a day,
we proven ourselves yet? Leo, come on. Let's sell some ads. All right.
Let's do it.
That's the end of...
right over there. Just waiting.
In fact, we have a sponsor right back here. But we'll save that for next week, which will be beta number 9.
Yep, absolutely.
That's sequential numbers.
9.
All right, until then, I'm Sarah Lane.
I'm Chad Johnson.
See you later.